My name is Rhapsody. Welcome back to Slay the Spire. We're going to be playing the Silent on Ascension 16. Silent and Defect still on Ascension 16, I think. For Defect as well. Making their way up to meet the Ironclad at 20. And then surpass it. Come on, and I mean, there is a really early shop. I could take the money and then go for that. Hell, I could take either of those money options and then go for that early shop. Alright, I'm not going to take the curse. So 15 incoming damage. Doesn't really matter which of these I hit with neutralize, right? Yeah, we'll neutralize the backliner. So now if I get weakened, it's only 2 hits to kill the louse in the backline. But, of course, I'm not going to stick around long enough for that to happen. 2 more stabs here. Thank you. I'll take an early cloak and dagger. Sure. And I'll actually take this relic as well. Or a Calcum if you end your turn without block, gain 6 block. That's pretty good. Well, there's accuracy. Well, there's apotheosis though as well. Oh, it's impossible to turn down. Apotheosis. I'll just take my money in this position. I'd love if I had enough money to go to the next space and remove the regret from the deck. But since I don't, I could have saved myself 3 HP there by getting the regret out of my hand, but actually I probably should have done that, considering the fact that I'm upgrading every other card in my deck. My offense potential went way up. Ooh, well-laid plans versus Wraithform. Take Wraithform first, well-laid plans later if it happens to turn up. Apotheosis gets its first upgrade. Its first upgrade, or rather. Apotheosis gets the first upgrade that we dole out. I'm actually kind of fine only blocking for the incoming 6er. I want to be able to kill that frontliner in the next turn, and this is the only thing that gives me... Yeah, would have needed the other strike. Oh well. That was the only path that gave me any ability to get that done. So I'll take 3 damage this turn. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Sweet. So I'm set up to have my strike next turn kill the frontliner, and then I even get to defend pretty well and mostly ignore the regret. And now we even get to ignore it entirely. Beautiful. Absolutely lovely. I would love to play Wraithform here, but we could just not have many attacks left in our next couple of shuffles, and then lose HP for having played that. So I'm being extremely cautious here. Yeah, alright. So we take 4 more damage. I mean, look, we got through the sentry fight relatively easily. It could have been a lot worse. I'm just bemoaning the fact that it wasn't the easiest thing that I've ever done. Because an early apotheosis typically just means you can go ham for a while. Kunai, every time you play 3 attacks in a single turn, gain 1 dex. Well, that all, like, immediately backs up the Crippling Dagger pickup. Crippling Dagger? Sorry, the Cloak and Dagger. I was trying to merge it with the name of the card that I was about to take there, being Crippling Cloud. Come on, and... Sure. I could have defended entirely there if I'd just waited a little longer. That one's my bad. I would have done all my attacks first so I had the point of dex before I played my defend. Piercing Whale. I would take it, but the deck is very skill heavy right now, so if I run into a Gremlin Knob, I'm going to have a really bad time. I can avoid all elites from now on, but I'd really like not to. I want to capitalize upon the bonus that I've got in the early game of having this... I'm actually just going to rest him. Of having this Apotheosis in the deck that most... I'd play Crippling Cloud first. That most decks don't have access to by this time. I'd probably just take the Pendib here. Every 10th attack you play deals double damage. I could take Caltrop, but it's really, really bad at the end of this combat. And yes, I'm saying that like that intentionally. I could take the card removal, just get the regret out of the deck. That's actually really important. It's also one fewer cards between me and my first draw of Apotheosis in the first shuffle. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Okay. So now I'm going to have to play Apotheosis on a turn. Oh, God. I hate how my attacks are spaced out here. Every single hand so far has had 2 attacks in it. The worst number for me. Oh, I could have blocked for 6 anyway. Keeping the enemy weak interior is really important. Wraithform will get us through a couple of turns. Unfortunately, we just missed out on 3 strikes. Really, really important that we play those, but... Well, if we didn't get to, we didn't get to. Kunai is going to help me get some of the decks back that I'm losing right now. Yeah. Bought me enough time, though. The boot, whenever you do a 4 or less unblocked attack damage, increase it to 5. Sure, that's totally fine by me, because I intend to put a bunch of Shivs in my deck, so it just increases their damage by 1. I could even take Flechette here if I desperately wanted to, but I probably take Dodge and Roll instead, because I have the Kunai. But now I need more attacks in the deck. Awesome. Very glad that I had the explosive potion there, because I still did not have access to, well, basically any AoE damage. Absolute godsend in that position. Take another dodge and roll. And let's get neutralize upgraded. No, you know what? Let's probably rest. We could have difficulty against this boss just because we don't have basically anything in our entire deck. Well, at least we've got the enemy weak for next turn, as well as 5 block already for next turn. Wraithform is way too early. I could have even considered not using Apotheosis and just attacking 3 times that turn so that I would get another point of dex. Okay, come on, a bunch of attacks. Well, I guess that counts. I'm just not very enthused about it. We get weakened as well. Actually, I probably could have and should have prevented that weaken. So 6 damage onto the backline. It takes them down to 25. 25 is just above your split value. Incredible. The backliner tries to hit their effect first, so if I use the Ancient Potion, I can prevent the incoming weakness. But it's not like I have a bunch of damage on my next hand anyway. Wraithform is incredible this time. Just blocked 36 damage by itself. It's difficult to argue that it's not absolutely stunning at that rate. Come on. Okay, I'm no longer weakened, so I can just straight up murder the backliner with a good draw. That's a pretty good draw. It's 1 murdered backliner right there. even dodge and roll just for the little bit of dex it'll give us next turn. I hit the frontliner here because I could already defend against the backliner, and the frontliner might be attacking next turn and the backliner might not be. But looks like I'll still be fine. Good. A lot of these fights are going to be about choosing the right time to play Wraith form. Corpse Explosion fixes so many of our problems right now. There's Corpse Explosion. Ooh, 3 different ways to get energy. Apotheosis. Fusion Hammer. You can no longer smith at rest sites. I don't care about smithing at rest sites. I have an Apotheosis in the deck. That already is doing all of my smithing. That's great. That's really good. That's just top notch. That's incredible. All right, let's have a look at all of these elites. So there is a maximum of 2 elites in any of these paths. You can see that pretty clearly. Now it's just about how many... I guess, do I care that much about rests? Not really. Having a rest directly before elite is particularly good, just so that I can make sure that I have the right HP value in order to go into that fight, so that I'm not, you know, terrified that I'm about to die at any point in time. But I'm not going to be smithing at any of them, so they're a little lower priority though than they otherwise might be. I do want as many question marks as possible this floor. Getting an Enchiridion or Nilari's Codex is actually pretty good. Usually I only ask for the Necronomicon, but in this position, yeah, I'd actually really like either of those. I could also hit 2 really early shops and remove 2 cards from the deck. That's actually a really good way to make the deck more powerful right now for us. Am I willing to take 6 damage this turn? Oh, I don't have to, right. Yeah, I'm not in the absolute highest Ascension, which is to say I'm not... Actually, it would be in Ascension 17, right? Normal enemies have more challenging movesets and abilities, where these enemies have 4 on their flight stack, so you have to hit them 4 times in order to get them down on the ground. I was trying to think about it like that, but obviously that's not the case here, right now. Thank you, Corpse Explosion. Ooh, Leg Sweep is a giant defensive card. Yes, what a great pickup for us. Wraith Form, I mean, protects us for basically all of the turns that these enemies attack for. I get blocked for 6 at the end of the turn, so I don't even need to generate my own block. Without Corpse Explosion, this just isn't happening, but... So I take 4 damage here. I would have taken a lot more damage over the course of this fight otherwise, so... An Apotheosis, Corpse Explosion. Backliner dies with... the 5 more damage. This is die with the 5 more damage, so this goes to 14, 14, 14. Yeah, that's actually lethal. But it's only lethal on the frontliner, right? Deals max HP. No, it's 2 times over because of the Corpse Explosion, right? So 52 because of the block value of the looter, and since they're dying on my turn, so their block value is still active, that's actually not going to matter because the mugger still dies. Yeah, I'm taking my money back. I'm literally about to go to a shop. Like, come on. Another copy of Crippling Cloud or Backflip. I could see either of them. Probably the second copy of Crippling Cloud, though. None of these are actually that great for us. Probably the best thing is transform 2 cards and get a Strike and Defend out of here, right? Because we don't attack in the opening turn, so we don't need the Mutagenic Strength. Have +3 Strength on the first turn of combat. At the end of that turn, lose the Strength. And we definitely don't need Jax, because while we do play a bunch of small attacks, the only reason we really do that is to increment our decks so that we can defend while we poison our enemies. I would do 2 strikes, but I'm a little scared of doing 2 strikes just because we have very little other damage in the deck right now. So Phantasmal Killer and Prepared. Both of those are garbage, and I'm really, really displeased that I got them. They're garbage for us in this build in particular, but they are garbage nonetheless. So prepared, why it's prepared garbage? It says draw 1 card, discard 1 card, and it costs a card to play, because it itself is a card. If I have this in a hand of 5 cards, and then I play this, I have 4 cards, then I discard 1 and draw 1, and I have 4 cards. So I am at a card deficit to my previous deck. That is still a totally fine thing to do if you get value from discarding cards, or if you have a lot of negative garbage cards in your deck that you do want to discard. We don't have that many, right? We do have the strikes and defends, but since they all get upgraded by the apotheosis, they're not actually garbage. And we're looking on cutting everything else. So I'm actually thinking I probably just end up removing prepared here. Phantasmal Killer is also extremely useless for us, so I'm probably going to remove it in the next space. Next shop, at least. 12 cards. Okay, doubt and injury there. Oof. Deadly poison and injury. There's doubt. Deadly poison, great. I will actually take deadly poison. I don't want Storm's still in this deck with Kunai though? I don't have much draw in this deck is the problem with the Storm and Steel right now. Okay. Still gotta take that deadly poison though. Yeah. So I'll move over here and then I guess I'll rest. There's another Cloak and Dagger, and it's not cheap enough for me to card remove and take the Cloak and Dagger, unfortunately. Cloak and Dagger is more important. And then I'll also take a backflip. And a flying knee. Just padding some value into the deck right now. And also a little bit of damage. Not much, admittedly, but a little bit. In these 3 spaces, am I going to get enough to make that store worthwhile? Probably not, but this rest is definitely not going to be worthwhile. I guess I could recall. Yeah, it's useless. Not good enough. Okay. Gotta make sure that I have reasonable block by the time that the Fungi Beast in the backline is dead, which is now. Do I want to use the Ancient Potion here to prevent the incoming 4 extra damage? Because the backliner is going to die before the frontliner attacks me. That is to say, the Fungi Beast dies before the Shelled Parasite hits me. And the Fungi Beast applies 2 vulnerable to us when it dies. No. It's worth more than 4. Phantasmal Keller makes no sense in this deck. Yeah, if I used it last turn, I would have done 8 more damage this turn for 2 energy. Absolute garbage. Okay, keep the enemy poisoned, and so I guess I'm looking for a catalyst here. I wasn't trying to specifically go for this deck, but I guess that's where I've ended up. It's a natural pair with Wraith Form because you already know, you kind of have like an innate timer on how long the enemy is going to be living for. So you can more easily determine whether or not it's a good time to play Wraith Form. I'll take the max HP there because we do feel a little light on max HP. I would love to take the Adrenaline or even Caltrops here, but no option. I can't believe I got 2 shops in a row here and then a footwork. That sucks so much. Oh, that's garbage. Okay, Apotheosis, I'll use an energy potion here because it's really important I drop the Corpse Explosion and the Crippling Cloud. I could defend for 11 this turn, or I could defend for 6, so 5 less, I get a Deadly Poison out on the backline. That's actually really important. It's going to make it really easy to kill that backliner. Only have to do 6 more damage this turn, and since I'm not weakened, that's a strike. That's everyone dead. Bloodval, as well as Noxious Fumes, pre-upgraded. Thank you. That's exactly what we want for this deck. Infinite Blade's not pre-upgraded. Yes, I'll take that as well. Extra attacks is still really important. I'm still looking for ways to put extra attacks in this deck so that I can get the kunai off more. Yeah, I probably made a bad decision here. I probably should have focused on the bird just a little bit there at least. I can prevent the Hex from coming in here. How bad is the Hex for me? It's not that bad, actually. A lot of things could be worse. Okay. Still haven't managed to get Corpse Explosion, eh? That's interesting. So 4 damage, but it ramps up to 5. That's enough to kill that. Thank you, Boot. Leg sweep the back line, and Survivor as well. I was really hoping that I would have had Corpse Explosion by then. Goodbye, Chosen. Another Crippling Cloud, alright. Yeah, I'll rest. Not even back to full HP. Well, it wasn't back to full HP until the Blood Vial healed me as I entered this combat. Apotheosis had to be played. Crippling Cloud had to be played. Okay, so yeah, I only had the energy for 1 strike there, regardless of what I did. It's way too early for the demon form here. Thankfully, you're not even really pressed on it. Managed to fully defend. Yeah, I'll take the 2 damage this turn. Frontliner still dies next turn regardless. Remember, the artifact prevents the weakness from the enemy here, not vulnerability or frailty. You don't live longer, unfortunately. So I can do 45 damage this turn by Corpse Exploding the Frontliner just before it dies to kill the Collector. But just stacking that poison on the backliner is probably going to be more damage overall. Just because of how many more turns we're going to be in this combat. Ooh, another 32 incoming. Looks like we'll be fine, though. Yeah, we could probably just stop playing here and still be fine in this combat. Great. All right, second boss down. Let's find Burst or Catalyst. Nightmare, Glass Knife, Tools of the Trade. Nightmare on Wraith Form or Catalyst or even Infinite Blades for me is pretty good. Tools of the Trade, no, not necessary. And Glass Knife. Yeah, we actually don't even want that. We'll take the Nightmare. Definitely want the extra energy here, so I'll take the Sosu. We have a very expensive deck. Not only do we have Nightmare, but we have a lot of draw in the deck in the 2 backflips. We're probably going to start including Acrobatics so that I can get to the right cards at the right time. Very, 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 very unlikely to be going for many elites this floor. The possibility exists to go for 3. How do I fare up against these elites with this deck in particular? So the worst elite for me is actually the Giant Head, because without a Catalyst, I don't have enough scaling damage to deal 500 damage before the enemy seriously makes me sad. So for that reason, I can't take out any elites until I have either Catalyst or just more damage in the deck. Best I could have blocked that turn was the defend for 5, or a Calcum does more than that by itself, so I just focused all of mine on damage and weakening the right enemies. And Spiky goes down, taking out all of its compatriots with it. Endless Agony is good for the sake of the Kunai. And since we're getting very few triggers of the Kunai, I actually really want to take it. This is fine. We should be able to deal with these at a reasonable rate. It's a lot of incoming damage is the thing. Okay, there's nothing I can do at rest sites except for rest right now, so. Just looking to adjust my later path. This is effectively like fighting an elite. So I can consider this an elite that I know is not a giant head and is going to give me a rare relic, just as long as I survive. Oh, thank you, Wraithform. Jeez. Oh, Corpse. Exact card I needed not to draw was Corpse Explosion. Still needed that in the deck. Looks like I'm just going to be okay here. Got a really late Apotheosis as well. That was a garbage fight for us. Peace Pipe. You can now remove cards from your deck at rest sites. Well, now I have something to do at those rest sites. I'll also take that backflip. Pocket Watch. Whenever you play 3 or less cards during your turn, draw 3 additional cards at the start of your next turn. It's possible, and I do appreciate the extra draw. I'm going to take the Fairy in a Bottle here. When you would die, heal to 10% of your max HP instead and discard this potion. Damn it, Sozu. Always messing with my plans. I need to start removing these standard defends. Crippling Cloud, and then I'll leg sweep and defend. That gets me my extra draw next turn as well, and has all the enemies weakened. What lock? Okay, Corpse Explosion does need to go on the backliner here. I'll be taking 12 damage this turn, but that's okay. We're only a couple spaces. We're literally one space from a resting site now. So we are good. Nope. Definitely gonna rest here. Probably gonna rest the next one as well. I'm actually now terrified. I could go a bunch of question marks, rest, and then a late elite. Not all paths fight elites. I could snake through this path to get all the way up there without fighting a single elite and get a late shot. Okay, that's the most... It's not luck. I'm not looking for the word luck. That appears to be the most viable way for me to maximize my chances of increasing my ability to possibly foresee a circumstance where I might encounter the selection in which I could possibly get a catalyst. I feel like I made that really clear. No? It's awful. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Frontliner blows up this turn, but doesn't deal any damage to me. Boom. And that's all y'all down. Easy. Footwork is incredible for us. I'd love to upgrade it. Upgrade all cards, you can no longer heal. No, we desperately need to heal some more before we finish this, and we've already got all of our cards upgraded from Apotheosis. Heal to full HP and take a Curse of Doubt. No, that's not good. Right, got a Pointed Dex and an Infinite Blades out there, as well as weakens the enemy. Crumbs. Best I can do here is Wraithform. I hate that that's the case, but it is the best thing that I can do here. I don't want to lose too much more HP. And it is pretty likely that we get to speed down this fight. Also, Kunai, as long as I trigger that every turn, I'll be okay for my decks. Okay, it looks like I'm going to be pretty comfy. Yeah, bought myself enough time. We're fine. Enemy's dead next turn. And I get my rare relic. Oh, hell yeah. Can't wait to see what it'll be. Duvudol. For each curse in your deck, start each combat with 1 strength. That doesn't really matter to us because the only time that we were really playing that many attacks is when we were playing Shivs. And those Shivs are already dealing 5 damage courtesy of the boot. So that literally means nothing to me. I can take the Piercing Wail here. That's pretty good against the final boss this floor. More bank. Upon pickup, whenever you climb a floor, gain 12 gold. No longer works when you spend any gold at a shop. Well, I'm planning on dodging all elites, so I'm not getting all the keys here anyway. Ah, I think Mirth. Well, at least I got a Pointed Dex out of it. Ugh, Wraithform went by really early. A poison deck is probably the best equipped deck to deal with this enemy, because you don't have to attack them. That doesn't make it lovely and fun to do. $42 incoming damage. Definitely can't let that one stand. 18. Okay, that's a lot more speed. Really wanted to play the Crippling Cloud there, but extra Pointed Dex is worth a lot. I'm gonna Nightmare the Deadly Poison. Not even end up playing it, but next turn is all Deadly Poisons. Got him. Could have been a lot better, could have been a lot worse. So we've still not gotten a Catalyst. This is going to be a very difficult boss fight. Not the leg sweep though. Oh, hell yes. Don't get me wrong, my other pickups have been goddamned incredible. I'm not checking out horses' mouths when I say this. We need a Catalyst. I'm gonna Nightmare Piercing Wail, then I'll Piercing Wail and defend. And this is literally just to buy me the next turn. Next turn, they're probably all gonna attack, but I will Piercing Wail 3 times. Uh-huh. Don't even need to use the final Piercing Wail here. Frontliner is already dead. I'm hoping to draw Corpse Explosion before it dies, which is why I haven't been adding onto it at all here. It's not going to happen, it looks like. With no AoE, it looks like we're going to get through this actually really comfortably. That is just to say no AoE drawn. There is AoE in the deck. We just couldn't get to it for the goddamn life of us. Brew, Blade Dance. That's just a point of dex for us. As well as 15 damage. I mean, that's not to be sniffed at. God, that's a great opening turn. Completely block, get 2 points of dex, poison the enemy, weaken the enemy. Come on. There's nothing bad to say about that turn. I'm gonna Nightmare Wraith form and then the enemy there. So now I can just play Wraith form casually. Hopefully in my next shuffle I encounter one of the Wraith forms relatively quickly. That said, since I can focus on not having to defend here, I can get real aggressive with all of these poisons. Seems to have worked out perfectly for us here. Catalyst! Oh yeah! Right before the final shop as well. In the final shop we find Adrenaline. Pretty good. Not that great against the final boss we're going against though. Well-Laid Plans and Art of War, both huge. Incredible. We'll take a Power Potion as well. I would have taken a Power Potion. Don't really want Bane, don't really want Expertise in this deck, so I'm fine. Oh, this is great. Well-Laid Plans holds the Catalyst until we have Catalyst Nightmare, or holds Nightmare until we have Nightmare Catalyst. We'll just blow up this enemy. We should be really, really comfortable here. I'm very likely to play 6 cards in the next turn. Is that true? That's not true. I'll just attack them. It's important I either play 6 cards in the next turn or... Am I going to play 6 cards this turn? Yeah, I am. Start stacking a little bit of poison on these enemies. I could have cut 2 cards from that turn just to get the extra draw from the Pocket Watch. That probably would have been a really good idea, though. I'd love to play the Infinite Blades, but it's really important that I leave myself with some cards to play next turn. Oh my god, you are kidding me, right? This is awful. Ow! Piercing Wail. Deadly Poison. Enemy's already weak, so... Deadly Poison again. It's really important I hold that Catalyst, right? It is. 27 incoming. We should defend against that pretty easily. Alright, it's time for me to start using the Wraith form. I'm not preventing the debuff from the Wraith form, though. The enemy is now going to make me vulnerable and frail this turn. I'll prevent that debuff. Keeps the enemy weak. That. Phantasmal Killer. Catalyst. Okay, now I Nightmare the Catalyst, and then this turn I will Catalyst. Next turn... Oh, never mind. The enemy's already dead. Got him. Oh, God. I straight up overkilled ridiculously here. See how badly I overkilled? By 5,075 damage. It's a pretty big overkill right there. That's our Ascension 16 victory, though. Sweet. Hell yeah. 1241 on the score. Not bad. Very, very similar to a lot of the other decks that I've done for successful silence. I don't know too many other builds that come together really easily for the silent. It feels like Poison is so much more powerful in the higher Ascensions because you can afford to do it whilst being incredibly defensive. That said, for the moment, my name has been Rhapsody. The name of the game has been Slay the Spire. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you next time.